Assalamu alaikum viewers. In previous chapters, we discussed the forms of the government, in which we came to know that in some states we are seeing the parliamentary type of government, and somewhere we witness the presidential form of government, or somewhere it is semi-presidential form of government. In India, we are having parliamentary type of government. Today we are in the class 11th, where we will learn about the executive in the parliamentary system. In the executive, we see that the President of India is holding an enormous place in the Indian Constitution. As the President of India is the head of the state, sometimes we call him the rubber stamp, or sometimes we call him the tutorial head. The President of India is being elected by the elected members of both the houses of the parliament as well as by the legislative assemblies of all the states. So we call it that this is the electoral college for electing the President of India. Under the system, what we have learned in the previous chapter, that is PR system, through the single transferable vote system, the Indian President is being elected. For contesting the elections, when one or more candidates are contesting the elections, the parties present provide their list of the candidates for or nominate their candidates for the post of the president. The president is being elected under the system of what we call proportional representation system, in which the president has to attain or has to acquire a certain number of votes, what we call quota. The quota, for that quota we have the formula which we have learned in the previous chapter, that is total number of valid votes polled divided by total number of seats to be filled plus 1 plus whole 1. That means whatsoever is the number before the candidate is that how many votes are to be polled plus 1. That means the 50% of the votes polled plus 1 vote is requirement for the president to cross the winning post. In this system, all the MLAs as well as all the parliament members of both the houses who are elected members can cast their vote. The value of the one MLA's vote, here we mean the value of one MLA's vote is equal to total population of the state divided by total number of elected MLAs of the state divided by 1000. Under this formula, what is the population of the state and how many members are elected within that state plus divided by 1000 is the cost of one MLA's vote. Likewise, we have the value of one MP's vote or one parliament member's vote is equal to that total number of votes assigned to the elected members of all state legislative assemblies divided by total number of elected MPs of both the houses of the parliament. Under this provision, all the value of one MLA's vote and as well as one MP's vote is segregated. Likewise, we have the president's qualifications. What are the qualifications required for the President of India? The first qualification required for becoming the President of India is that one must be the permanent citizen of India. Likewise, he must have attained the age of 35 years. After that, he can contest the election of the president. And likewise, he should be able to become the member of legislative assembly. He should be able to become the member of parliament. And likewise, he should not hold any kind of office whereby he will get the profits. So these are the qualifications of the president to become the president. Likewise, when a person is being elected as the president, he has certain powers and privileges in his hands. Here we will focus on what type of powers the President of India enjoys. The Indian President enjoys the executive powers, he enjoys the legislative powers, financial powers, he also enjoys the judicial powers as well as emergency powers. As we know, the Indian state is a federal state in which there are so many union territories, there are so many states, so we are federating units to the one center. The President of India here has the power of executive power, being the head of the executive as well as head of the administration. He is one of the noble persons to be seated, to be positioned within the Indian Constitution. All the decisions are taken in the name of the President. Although the decisions are taken by the cabinet or cabinet ministers of the cabinet as well as the Prime Minister of India, but still the decisions are taken in the name of the President. Likewise, all the major decisions, including the appointments of Election Commission of India, Chief Justice of India, likewise the Comptroller General of India, ambassadors, governors, all are appointed by the Indian President. So we say that Indian the Indian President is having the executive powers. Likewise, he enjoys the other powers, what we call legislative powers. The legislative powers under Article 79, the President of India, there shall be a parliament for the union consisting of the President as well as the two houses. So his position in the legislature is the first position. Likewise, none of the bills can become acts till there will be not the consent, there will be not the signature of the President on that very bill. Likewise, he is enjoying the financial powers. The presents annual budget. The President of India presents the annual budget. He speaks when both the houses are combined together, and he does their speech. Likewise, he presents the budget. Likewise, no money bill can be produced without the prior consent of the President. Likewise, he controls the contingency. He appoints the financial commissions time and time. Likewise, he enjoys the judicial powers. In the judicial powers, to grant pardons, to reprieve, to respite, to suspension of contortions or remissions in respect of the criminals facing death sentence, offences against laws made under union / the concurrent list. All these pardons the persons who are guilty, the persons who have been given punishments by these courts, or those who the last authority of the Indian Constitution, the last authority or the Supreme Court. After when Supreme Court has given its verdict, when there is the decision, when there is their life imprisonment or death sentence given to anybody, he can go for pardon before the President of India. So the President of India enjoys the judicial powers too. Here it is ambiguous. It is not ambiguous to say that the President of India is enjoying his powers during the emergencies. He enjoys 3 types of emergency powers. Under Article 352, the President of India can declare that proclamation of the emergency when the need arises, when there is a threat from outside the country, or when there is any threat, there is an armed struggle, armed rebellion within the state which poses threat to the Indian territory. The federal constitution gets suspended. As such, the unitary constitutions became in vogue in order to give more and more powers to the President of India to enjoy his powers. And what we call this kind of emergency is known as national emergency. Another emergency, what we call as the constitutional emergency, when the need arises, when there is the failure of the constitutional machinery, when the President of India deems it that any state or the states are facing the constitutional machinery has got failed, or it gets reports from the concerned governors that the law and order situation has become inevitable within the state. As such, the president of India suspends the constitution and is carrying out the constitutional emergency at that point of time. Likewise, under Article 360, when there is financial emergency, when the President of India deems it that there is financial instability or the credit of India is at the stake, as such, he thereby suspends the constitution and enjoys the powers as unitary government. That is, the President of India is enjoying a lot of powers within the Indian constitution. This is all about today's topic. Tomorrow we will go to another topic. Thank you.